Okay, boxing fans, we're gonna do a video now on our instant reaction to Amir Khan confirming May 30th he will be fighting Chris Algieri. Algieri. What are we thinking about this? What are we thinking about this? It's a load of shit. It's a load of shit. I can't believe I'm doing that. So, Paul, what are your initial thoughts on this fight? It's a load of shit, right?
It's not at all what I was hoping for. It's not good enough for me. Khan has been telling everyone for months that he's got a big opponent lined up. He only wants the best fighters in the world, that he's got bigger fish to fry than Kell Brook, and he goes and makes this fight against Chris Algieri, who got absolutely smashed to bits, humiliated, embarrassed, exposed, whatever you want to say, by Manny Pacquiao in his last fight. It's a really poor fight for me, and I was expecting or hoping for much better from Amir.
Yeah, I agree. Rory, your thoughts?
Yeah, I think it's a double-edged sword, really. I think it's certainly not anywhere near what he was promising, so I can't defend him in any way, shape, or form on that side of things. But I can understand why he's not taking a dangerous fight. I think he's got a lot to lose if he loses. So, with that in mind, I couldn't have seen him going in against anyone that was overly dangerous. I just didn't think it'd be this shit,
Yeah, I mean, we all know by now Amir Khan is waiting to try and get either Pacquiao or Mayweather. The problem is, I don't think he's going to get him. You know what I mean? And he's just like waiting around. But he's also getting bankrolled doing it by Al Heyman, which sort of contradicts my own thought. Why would he bankroll someone waiting around? Maybe he is going to fight,
Well, don't forget as well that Amir Khan is WBC mandatory, and WBC are actually starting to make their mandatories actually happen now. So even if, by right, it will have been mandatory for a year now, and by the time Floyd Pacquiao fight, that's for the WBC strap. So he'll be able to go, well, hang on, I've deserved the fight. If they relinquish the title, then he's fighting for a vacant title, and it's still worth having.
The day that Mayweather or Pacquiao fight, they're mandatory. I'll be very impressed. I mean, it just don't happen. Well, it is. I guess it's an angle you can look at. Yeah, I guess it's an angle. But all this talk, he turned down, or he didn't. There was no Kell Brook fight. I wouldn't say he turned it down because there was never anything there in the first place. The Kell Brook fight isn't happening, but instead he decided he's fighting Chris Algieri. Now, I wouldn't mind if it was Adrian Broner. Honestly, I wouldn't mind. The problem is, Chris Algieri really is and never has been. He got lucky beating Provodnikov. I didn't think he really deserved that. And that's his only claim to fame, and he got demolished by Manny Pacquiao. He survived the distance, but, when you go down 6 times, I think questions have to be asked how good your chin is as well. So, there's no upside for Khan, and the only upside for Khan in this is, I reckon, he's getting paid quite handsomely for fighting a guy who is domestic level. This is Andre Ward versus Paul Smith type shit. Do you agree? Any of you?
Well, at least he's won a title, I suppose. But you're clutching at straws, I think, really. I think the annoying thing is he promised so much. If he'd just kept his mouth shut and not said it was going to be a great opponent, he didn't say anything. And you kind of go, right, well, fine, well, you didn't promise us anything. But you promised us a big name, and this is what you pull out of the bag. He talked about Cotto, he talked about Broner, whatever you think of either of those fighters, they're still big names, they're still decent fights. They're still probably, perhaps, they've both got huge profiles. So you go, all right, well, fair enough, It's not Floyd or Manny, but it's looking at the top 10 pound for pound, or it's looking at, like, the top 5 guys in your division sort of thing. Chris Algieri is neither, and it's just disappointing, especially because he's had so much media hype around him recently, and he ends up coming out with this. It's just disappointing and a load of bollocks.
That's right, yeah. I mean, one thing I will talk about, unless Paul, have you got anything to add to that?
No, it's just the same as Rory. I mean, Algieri's got a little bit of a name, but the only reason he's got a name is because he got the shit kicked out of him by Pacquiao, and because even though he won the Probotnikov fight, he still had the shit kicked out of him in that as well. He had a really bad face after that fight. So, is Chris Algieri a great opponent? No, he's not. Khan, as far as I'm concerned, hasn't got a leg to stand on now when he criticises Kell Brook's opponents. He was laughing at Kell Brook for fighting Jojo Dan. When Jojo Dan was Kell Brook's mandatory, he had to fight him. He had no say, or he'd get his title taken off him. Whereas Amir Khan is just fighting Algieri to keep busy and make a bit of money. There's nothing wrong with that, really. A lot of fighters do it, but don't go around basically in love with the smell of your own fart saying, I'm Amir Khan, I fight anyone, look at my opponents compared to Kell Brook's. Don't go around talking like that when Kell Brook's last opponent is pretty much the same level as your next opponent.
I mean, you could actually argue that, well, yeah, I'll say it. You can pretty much argue that Jojo Dan is better than Algieri. I wouldn't argue it very much, but you could argue it.
They're similar level to me. They're just the different styles. Would Jojo Dan have lasted 12 rounds for Probotnikov? No, for me. But would Algieri have gone, what was it, 3 or 4 rounds with Kell Brook?
Yeah, 4 rounds, yeah.
Maybe not. I don't think so because, as you said, Algieri's got a terrible chin.
Yeah.
At least from my opinion, he has.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with you. I agree with you 100%. The only thing that does make me slightly laugh is people are acting as if Amir Khan owes them the Kell Brook fight. Do you understand what I'm saying? At the end of the day, Amir Khan does not owe anybody shit. The amount of loyalty Amir Khan has got off boxing fans throughout the years. And I'm just saying this as we all know that people go to his shows hoping to see him lose. Not to see like the opposition win, to see Amir Khan lose. And the amount of unjustified hate, I mean, if you hate the guy, I don't give a shit. But the unjustifiable hate that Amir Khan can get from people, maybe a small amount of people, but a large amount of people, or it could be said as well. That kind of thing makes me sort of giggle at this as well, because they're going to be having a shitstorm, crying and crying and crying. And I mean, literally, to the point where it actually affects their lives, thinking that he owes them shit. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's just the Matchroom Brigade, the Kell Brook fanboy brigade, the people
it's other people as well. I mean, and not just like people like that, but people who
British boxing fans in general. Most British boxing fans in general don't like Amir Khan. They don't support him. They've had a go at him over the years. He's got a load of stick. That's why he doesn't fight over here so much anymore. And yet these same people are screaming at him and acting like he owes them a fight with Kell Brook at Wembley.
Exactly. So you don't know your shit. You know what I mean?
No.
Your like opinion on that matter is void because he don't owe you shit.
Maybe if British boxing fans would have been a bit more supportive to Khan over the years, he'd be more willing to come over and give us this big super fight that everyone wants.
Yeah. Why do you think he bases himself in the UK as well? Bases himself over in LA as well? And fights predominantly in the USA now. If you're not getting any love from your own fans, then you go and find where people do want you. It's just natural. And if people in the US have taken to him and like him, and so be it. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm not the biggest Khan fan, but he's a two-weight world champion, is he?
Yeah.
Two-weight world champion.
Not really, I wouldn't say.
Well, not really.
1 weight. We'll say 1 weight. 1 weight.
One weight, 2 titles. He won the WBA and the IBF at 140.
Yeah. I'd say he holds anything at
and he beat... Who did he beat Katalnik at? Was that lightweight? He wasn't the lightweight.
He didn't. No, that was at like welterweight. That's where he was. Katalnik. Judah, Maidana.
And let's be honest. Khan's resume, yes, he's lost, but it's a pretty decent resume. It's not bad compared to some fighters. And it's you'd think that some with a resume like that from Britain would have more support, but clearly not.
Well, yeah, I mean, we all expect it, like the hate to, go from here to the next level, but it's fine. I mean, I don't even think he's bothered. That's the thing. I actually don't think he's even asked. Do you know what I mean? I don't think he gives a shit about Kell Brook and the Kell Brook fight and the UK fans anymore, which says it all, really. So it's like people are going to have an outcry, but I don't think anyone will give a shit. I've seen people saying they're not going to watch the fight, but I bet they will. You know what I mean? People said they wouldn't buy the Bell U pay-per-view, but they fucking did, didn't they? They fucking did. So they're going to watch that fight for free, but you best believe that. Yeah, well, it is what it is. You know, it's a shit fight. No one's going to defend. No one there is going to defend that fight. It is shit. You know, it's shit. And I would have liked to see the Brook versus Khan fight, and I think it will happen down the line. It's just not happening now. And it is what it is. Do you guys want to finish on anything?
No, it's just the same. I wanted Khan versus Brook. I'd have even liked Khan versus Broner. We're not getting those fights any time soon, so we'll have to make do with this, but it's a pretty shit fight. I'm probably not going to stay up and watch it on the night because I'm just not interested enough. And Amir Khan, I'm afraid from now on you're not going to be able to dine out on I fight better opponents than Kell Brook card.
I agree.
No, I mean, the one thing I'd probably say to anyone is the Brook fight won't happen. Just not now. It's just business, and that is what it is.
Do you know something? You know what's going to be? It's a silver lining, guys. It's a silver lining. I love a good silver lining. At least now you get to see Kell Brook versus Frankie Gavin. Now that Amir Khan's pulled out of the running for it, so
praise the Lord. Praise the Lord.
That's. I think, to be honest with you, I think the pair of them, if that fight happens, which I'm thinking it probably will do now, Gavin's with Matchroom, I think the pair of them should shut the fuck up about resumes. To be honest, if you fight in Algieri and, you know, as a world champion, you're fighting Frankie Gavin, Jesus, man.
I mean, yeah, if Kell Brook can't even talk about resumes if you tear up with Frankie Gavin as an opponent, you know what I mean? Who's your best opponent? Chris Van Heeren. If he beats him, you know what I mean? If he beats Chris Van Heeren, imagine if Chris Van Heeren wins.
Yeah,
Jesus Christ. You know what I mean? It'd be like a parallel universe.
That's if Gavin can make the weight.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I don't know. He's eaten well lately, Gavin. So, eating with hand. So, I don't know, man. Don't know. I should send Ricky Burns around there. Get a few quid. Share some meals with Frankie Gavin. Maybe bit too soon. Okay. We'll leave it there then.
Can't afford the bus fare down to Birmingham, but.
Oh man, that was low. We're a bad kid. We're a bad bunch of kids.